Execute Order 66. 3 words that by themselves mean nothing, but together can turn the entirety of the Grand Army of the Republic against the ancient warriors known as the Jedi Knights, keepers of the peace and defenders of the Republic. The Jedi, before the Great Purge, had over 10,000 members in their order, but after the Purge, the numbers dropped to a little over 100. But with each passing day, the Inquisitors, former Jedi or Force-sensitive children trained from birth, hunted them down, hoping to destroy the Jedi once and for all. And it nearly worked. But today we will be talking about the Jedi that survived Order 66 in canon. I will not be talking about Inquisitors because those are a little confusing. Some of them were trained from birth and some of them weren't. So I will be talking about some of them, but not all of them, just a select few. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. The first Jedi that survived Order 66 is the one and only Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan served on the Jedi Council for a couple of years, the Jedi High Council, before Order 66 was put into effect. After that, he went into exile on Tatooine, where he would be tasked with his final mission: watch and protect Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker's son. This is where he would spend most of his life until the day would come where Luke would discover that he was a Jedi Master, and that would eventually lead to his death at the hands of his former apprentice, Lord Vader. So that was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Each Jedi will be a short little description of who they were and how they survived-ish, and what happened to them afterwards. The next Jedi that we will be talking about is one you'll most likely be aware of. He kind of is like Anakin Skywalker, because he broke all the rules. This one is Quinlan Vos. During Order 66, he was at the planet of Kashyyyk, where Separatist forces were invading. He served alongside Master Yoda and Jedi Master Luminara Unduli. But while protecting the planet, Order 66 would be issued, and his clones would turn on him. It is unknown still how he survived or got off the planet, but what we do know is after he got off the planet, he started working for the Hidden Path, which helped Force-sensitive people or other people being prosecuted by the Empire. It is still unknown how he dies, but he has appeared in the Kenobi show. The next person we'll be talking about is the Grand Inquisitor. Now, I know I said I won't be talking about all the Inquisitors, but I feel like this one needs to be talked about. He was a temple guard before Order 66, and there he served on Coruscant, protecting the Jedi there. But after hearing Barriss Offee's speech about how the Jedi had lost their way, it convinced him that the Jedi weren't all correct, and definitely were not the good people he thought they were. So during Order 66, he turned to the dark side and helped Anakin kill the temple guards. After helping Anakin during Order 66, he was hired to become the Grand Inquisitor, where he would hunt down remaining Jedi, and if they didn't turn to the dark side, kill them. But in the show Rebels, he would meet his final opponents, Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger, which I will be getting to later. But unfortunately, those two would lead to his death. The next person we'll be talking about is a Padawan, one of many Padawans, known as Kanan Jarrus or Caleb Doom. Before Order 66, he served alongside his master Depa Billaba, but only managed to survive Order 66 thanks to Hunter, a member of the Bad Batch, who was defective to Order 66. After that, he went into hiding, but joined a band of rebels known as the Phoenix Squad or Ghost Squadron. They go by many names. But he hid his ability and refused to use it for a long time, until a young boy named Ezra Bridger came into his life. That's when Kanan took on his first and only Padawan. Unfortunately, during a mission to rescue one of their members, Kanan was killed in the blast, but he managed to save the lives of his entire team and help them beyond the grave. The next Jedi that survived is a little less known, but you do know her all the same. Her name is Jocasta Nu. She was a Jedi Temple librarian. During Order 66, she managed to flee Coruscant and went into hiding, hoping to start a new Jedi school. But after realizing that she needed students for that new school, she headed back to Coruscant, hoping to make it a quick trip and grab the holocron. But while there, Darth Vader cornered her, and she was captured. She was later taken prisoner, but Darth Vader, not wanting Darth Sidious to replace him, killed Jocasta Nu and destroyed the holocron that contained all Force-sensitive children in the galaxy. But luckily, at her time on that hidden planet before going to Coruscant, Jocasta Nu made a ton of holocrons, which would later help a young Luke Skywalker rebuilding his Jedi Order. This next Jedi is a Dark Jedi. He's from the game Fallen Order. His name is Terran Malicos. I probably butchered that name completely. I'm so sorry. Before Order 66, he was a trusted Jedi general, but during Order 66, he nearly escaped his clone battalion and crash-landed on the planet Dathomir. There he would remain for a long time, and also met Merrin, the last surviving Night Sister. He lied to her, saying that the Jedi were responsible for the death of her kind, and offered to get her revenge in exchange for her teaching him Night Sister magic. Not long after, though, Cal Kestis, another Jedi who survived, and also who we'll be talking about later, discovered him. At first thought it was just a weary traveler, but later discovered that he was a Dark Jedi, and had to kill him with the help of Merrin. They trapped him in the ground forever. The next Jedi we'll be talking about is the one and only Cal Kestis, who was a Padawan to Jaro Tapal during Order 66, and thanks to his master's sacrifice, managed to escape the Jedi Venator before it exploded. After that, he spent the next few years of his life on the planet of Bracca, where he worked as a scrapper, hiding his identity until the events of Fallen Order. And after that, you all know what happened. He met Seer, Junda, and Grease, and Merrin, and all that. But you probably already know all about that. The next Jedi is a Jedi Master known as Luminara Unduli, who served alongside Grandmaster Yoda and Quinlan Vos during the invasion of Kashyyyk. She did survive Order 66, but very shortly afterwards was hunted down and captured by the Inquisitors, and shortly was executed. After that, her body was used to lure in any surviving Jedi that might hope to rescue her. Fortunately, it did work, and many Jedi fell for the trap. We don't know which Jedi were killed, but we do know the trap worked for Kanan Jarrus and his apprentice Ezra Bridger, who narrowly escaped. The next Jedi I'll be talking about is a very unknown Jedi. He's not in any movies or shows that I know of, and he doesn't appear in any comics or books. But his name is Hulick. He served alongside Anakin Skywalker and weren't on him for a couple of missions. During Order 66, he was mortally wounded, but managed to escape and fled to his home planet of Rhodia. Luke Skywalker would eventually come upon his resting place and see his lightsaber, which his niece would gift him. Unfortunately, though, Luke Skywalker would quickly render the weapon useless. This next Jedi is 100% the fan favorite. There is no Jedi loved more than her. I'm talking about Ahsoka Tano. Well, yes, at the time of Order 66, she was not a Jedi, and still isn't. She's an unaligned Force user, but was still trained in the Jedi arts, so I will be including her. During Order 66, she left the planet of Mandalore to return to Coruscant after capturing Darth Maul. But thanks to Captain Rex, she managed to figure out the inhibitor chips and managed to get out of Rex's head before he could kill her. She later went into hiding, but continued to help the Rebel Alliance by using a code name, Fulcrum. Later, she would eventually continue to help the Rebel Alliance and occasionally help Ezra and Kanan. Unfortunately, though, on a mission on Malachor, she would fight Darth Vader and would be bested. But thanks to the World Between Worlds, Ezra managed to save her, and her journey continues. This next Jedi is one that survived the Temple raiding on Order 66, Operation Nightfall. Her name is Reva. She is the third sister, and at Order 66, she was stabbed by Darth Vader and barely managed to survive, but later would join the Inquisitors in hopes to kill Darth Vader. But when her chance came, she was defeated by the Darth Lord easily, and once again narrowly escaped with her life. After that, she went to Tatooine hoping to kill Luke Skywalker, but failed again. But what happened to her afterwards is still unknown. The next Jedi is another Padawan. I know, there's a lot. He's the only known Wookiee to be in the Jedi Order at the time. His name is Gungi. Thanks to Bad Batch Season 2, we know that he survives Order 66, but we don't know how. He was in the Clone Wars episodes when he was selecting his Kyber Crystal. We don't know how he survived Order 66, but we do know after the events of Bad Batch, his homeworld would be taken prisoner, which would make him an easy target for the Inquisitors. The next Jedi I will be talking about is another Padawan, but this one has taken the internet by storm by his cuteness. I'm talking about Jar Jar Binks, Grogu. Otherwise known as Baby Yoda, he was present at the Temple of Order 66, and thanks to Kelleran Beck, managed to survive. Unfortunately, little is known about what happens afterwards, but we do know that Mando would eventually take him on as his son. While we're on the topic of Grogu, might as well talk about his savior, the Jedi Dean known as Kelleran Beck. We don't know who this Jedi is, but we do know very few things about him. We knew that he was trained in all seven lightsaber forms and was a Jedi Dean. That's about all. We also do know that he survives Order 66 and goes into hiding afterwards. It is unsure whether how he dies or even if he dies. The next Jedi is one who appeared in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. He was a former Jedi known as Nari. While fighting the Empire across the galaxy after Order 66, he eventually came across Tatooine and located Obi-Wan Kenobi there, hoping that he would help him. But Obi-Wan tried to persuade him to abandon the Jedi Order for good for his own safety. But Nari, as we know, would not do that and would later be killed by the Inquisitors. This next Padawan almost killed Darth Vader. His name is Theron Barr. While we don't know how he survived Order 66, we do know that he eventually landed on the planet of Mon Cala, where he would fight Darth Vader, but unfortunately would be killed, but not before giving Darth Vader a run for his money. This next Jedi is actually a council member known as East Koth. After Order 66, he went into hiding and started a family, hoping to hide his identity. But shortly afterwards, the birth of his daughter, the Inquisitors found him and killed him. And then the Inquisitors took his daughter and began a new project, which was designed to turn young Force users into future Inquisitors. The fate of his daughter is still unknown. This next Jedi, well, not technically active in the Jedi Order, is Karath Anifa. I think I pronounced that correct. During Order 66, he was on a pendant from the Jedi Order, not technically in it. But after feeling the deaths of all the Jedi, just like Yoda, he knew that he needed to go into hiding or he would be killed. Later, he would be discovered by Darth Vader, but would defeat the Dark Lord easily, but unfortunately did not kill him. Darth Vader, unfortunately, would return and then kill him, taking his Kyber crystal and bleeding it into the dreaded lightsaber we all love and fear today. The next Jedi is another Padawan. I know, a lot. This Padawan is Plo Koon's niece. While I don't know her name for sure, and even if I did, I'd probably butcher it, we don't know how she survived the execution, but we do know afterwards she located Darth Vader and beated him. She, so far, is the only Padawan to ever beat Darth Vader in a duel, and would have killed him, but she wanted to remind him of the Jedi Order in hopes to return him to the light side. But that would be in vain, as the moment she would walk away, Darth Vader would come up and stab her in the back. The next Jedi we'll be talking about is one from the books, called Force Collector. His name is Nakmed. Before Order 66, he left the Jedi Order and began a family with an unidentified woman. But after finding about the Great Jedi Purge, he knew he had to leave his family in order to keep them safe. Unfortunately, he would meet his demise in the future.
It seems like Jedi Survivor just likes giving us new Jedi. This one, Bodhi, barely managed to survive Order 66. It is unknown how, though, but we do know he eventually started a family. But after the Inquisitors came and killed his wife, he knew that he couldn't run forever and decided to join them. Not on his own will, though. So there he would join them, helping kill the Jedi, until Cal Kestis would figure out and kill him later, taking his daughter as his future apprentice. Well, maybe. We all hope so. This next Jedi, Seer Junda, before Order 66, she taught a Padawan known as Trilla, who unfortunately would become the third sister, who unfortunately would become the second sister, who we will be talking about later. After figuring out that her Padawan was an Inquisitor, Seer tapped into the dark side for a brief moment and killed everyone in the room, barely managing to leave her apprentice alive. Not wanting to let the dark side take control over her, she cut herself off from the Force completely. Until, as we know, she'd meet Cal Kestis, be his new master. Unfortunately, while escaping the planet Jedha, Darth Vader would come and kill her. This next Jedi is well known among the fans, but it is unknown what happens to her after the execution of Order 66, so we will assume that she survived. I'm talking about Barriss Offee. Before Order 66, she bombed the Jedi Temple and framed another Jedi known as Ahsoka Tano for the bombing. She would later give a speech during her trial, which convinced the Grand Inquisitor, who we already talked about, to turn to the dark side. But there is speculation among the fans that she survived Order 66. Some believe she went on to become the Inquisitors, while some believe she just barely managed to survive. But we do believe she will appear in the Ahsoka show. Before we get to our final Jedi, we will be talking about others who survived but we don't know anything about. Their names are Opa Rancis, Coleman Kajar, Kamun Cole, Korok, Yuvel, and Sarak. I know I messed up all those names completely. I'm so sorry. Those all survived the dreaded Order 66. Although we don't know much about them, we do know that two of them served on the Jedi High Council. Our final Jedi today will be the one and only Grandmaster Yoda. Yoda was in his late 800s when the Clone Wars started and ended. He was at the Battle of Kashyyyk when Order 66 was given, and felt the deaths of every Jedi, and that would help him notify that Commander Kreed was turning against him. After narrowly escaping Kashyyyk, he went into hiding on Dagobah, where he would stay there until Luke Skywalker would discover him. There, Yoda would take on his final apprentice, and later would die of old age on Dagobah. But he would occasionally appear as a Force ghost and help the Jedi. Well, that wraps up this video about every Jedi who survived Order 66 in canon. If I missed some, please let me know in the comments down below so I can do an updated version in the future. I would love to hear you on what I could have done better and who I forgot. But with that, thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe, and may the Force be with you.